Jurassic Park. Now playing the fifth episode.
Ecto goggles with Ecto Bomber, Neutron Blaster, and Water Zapper, each sold separately.
From the corner penthouse of Spook Central all the way to Star Killer Base, this is Yes Have Some Podcast.
Do I? Yes, have some.
Yes, have some.
You know, they told me you people were conceited douchebags.
The only place in the multiverse where you can love the book, hate the movie, but still buy all the toys.
I'm afraid you're just too darn loud.
I'm not looking for a friend. I'm looking for a Jedi Master.
What?
Please remember to hold on to your butts and get ready to get stressed. With your hosts, Craig Goldberg, Abigail Gardner, and Jacob Walsh.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Yes Have Some Podcast. My name is Craig Goldberg, and tonight we're winging it. I'm just putting it out there. We a couple weeks ago, Jake and I talked on the phone, which we tend to do, and he said, "Hey, we should just." Well, I don't know if he said it or I said it, but I said we should do an episode where we sit down with no plan and just see what happens. So tonight's either going to go down in history as a legendary hour to hour and 15 minutes of YHS content or a complete disaster. I can't wait to find out. Abigail Gardner, how are you?
Hey, everyone. I'm doing well. And yeah, you guys did decide this was going to be kind of a structureless fun time. And then I tried to add structure and I called it a potluck.
Yes.
So I don't know if I'm going to be the only one going with that theme.
No, it's fine.
I made it.
I mean, listen, we're going to talk about toys and movies, so it's not going to stretch too much further from our normal whatever we do here.
Cool.
Hey, Jake, what's up, man?
You know, not too much. I mean, I think first of all, Abby, I think maybe you are going to be alone on your potluck. I won't spoil it, but you're like,
Jake,
you know, bring stuff.
Theme.
You know, I'll bring this to the table. You bring this to the table. And I'm like, all right, well, my thing that I'm bringing to the table is the fact that there's nothing to bring to the table right now.
You're bringing nothing?
Jake's going to bring up
unacceptable.
I like the idea of Jake just showing up and just like reacting to things that have already happened that we've already talked about in the past. Like, hey guys, did you hear Paul Feig's doing a new Ghostbusters movie? Like, oh, let's talk about that. That's interesting.
Okay.
Have you guys seen Bridesmaids?
That's like bringing something expired to the potluck, so don't do that.
It's hard to bring, like, you know, I'm not going to spoil what you're bringing to the table, but it's like, it's hard to bring something to the table when it's like, there's no movie news happening.
Nothing.
There's not a whole, I mean, there's a few small things, but there's just not enough to
There's
talk
not enough.
about. You know, and we've done pretty well at keeping the show going and not having to really rely on like movie news, because we do talk more, you know, than just movie news, but it's like nothing's happening, nothing's exciting.
It's mostly toy stuff.
We're gonna talk about the toy stuff, but it's like you and Ryan kind of just talked about the toy stuff, and so it's hard to just come up with stuff to bring up for an episode.
Yeah.
You know,
So
we're like digging back into old stuff or something.
That's why tonight we're winging it.
Potluck style.
Hey, the good news is that for better or for worse, Bill and Ted Face the Music is going to be released in like 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Limited theater release, on demand. There's a new trailer. I know, Jake, you opted not to watch. Hey, let's talk about that.
Okay.
You're not watching the new Bill and Ted trailer.
I'm scared. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I was going to ask you about. Was it a decision because it's like it's already so close, you might as well just wait a few weeks?
Yeah, it's I feel weird about that first trailer. You know, I think that first trailer did not leave a very good taste in my mouth, but also I'm like, well, that was it. They showed me a trailer. That's what I watched. I don't want to watch a 3-minute trailer now with it being so close. I'm scared that, I don't know. I just don't want to watch it, man. I've done that in the past with other movies, like just try not to watch the trailers until when it's so close to the movie, there's always spoilers in them. And even if someone tells me, there's probably not a spoiler in that trailer, it's so soon at this point. I'm just going to hold out.
You know, it's funny. In retrospect, I kind of wish I didn't watch the new trailer because like I got excited because I was like, oh, cool. We're at a time and
I was about to point that out, how much I respect you, Jake, for not watching it, because right now it's like we're all hungry for anything. Craig woke me up at like 9 a.m. the morning the second trailer came out and he was like, get up. The Bill and Ted, the second trailer's on. I think you woke me up because the first trailer, when it came out, you didn't wake me up for it and there was a fight. But
I wouldn't call it a fight.
I kind of regret seeing the second trailer too. It was all right, but it didn't add anything. And I don't know.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Well, we won't. All we're saying is we're not going to do coverage on the second trailer, but Bill and Ted is coming soon, and that's ultimately a good thing. I think the thing that bums me out a little bit is that when we looked at the beginning of this year with the release schedule with Afterlife and Bill and Ted, like I was like, I was excited about seeing Bill and Ted 3 after all these years, and like it's still exciting, and I'm happy it's happening, and I'm happy for the cast, and I'm happy for me that I get to watch a new movie. But there is a little bit of that bittersweet thing where the build-up's not the same, and it's just been a weird year. So
I'm happy for Kevin Smith because he seemed really excited about it. We watched that panel, and that's another thing that's kind of a bummer about like quarantine.
Kevin Smith? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Wait, what'd you say?
Kevin Smith's kind of a bummer.
Kevin Smith also kind of a bummer. No, I'm happy for him, and it's good for him and Harley. And
by the way, I predicted everything he said about Bill and Ted without like even knowing what his opinion was. I was like, oh, Bill and
you literally had it down.
I was like, oh, Kevin Smith's doing the narrating modding the Bill and Ted panel at Comic-Con. I was like, I guarantee at one point he's gonna be like, dude, for me, Jay and Silent Bob are born out of the fucking balls and semen of Bill and Ted and whatnot. And I was like, and he literally said that exact thing. I was like, Kevin Smith, you son of a bitch, are predictable. But anyways.
He basically put that in, like, that's like a line of dialogue in, what is it? Chasing Amy, when they're talking about Blunt Man and Chronic, Like
a second-rate Bill and Ted.
Well, they say it's like Bill and Ted meets Cheech and Chong.
Right.
A character says that at some point.
But anyway, so we do have Bill and Ted coming up, and something funny happened last week before we get into it. Jake, I don't know if we talked about this on the episode last week, but Jake, notice all these stories start with Jake called me. That's how our life happens. Jake calls and we talk. He goes, it was really sweet, and I wanted to thank you in front of our listening audience. You checked on me to see how I was doing with all the Comic-Con toy news and all the releases and all the toy stress. You literally call it was
because I'm over here like not following any of it. Because like part of me is like, I don't really care that like unless it's certain things. I'm just like, I don't care for all this like Comic-Con at home stuff. I just don't care. I just haven't. It's different. It's weird, and I don't care. But I know you do, and I know that you were like deep diving on it, and I've seen you posting about it and talking about it. And I'm like, Craig needs a check-in.
I really did. No, I needed
mental
to
check.
No,
Jake's like Dr. Manhattan. He's grown weary and tired of the Comic-Con news.
I need a check-in, as in I need to be checked in somewhere. Is what you're saying.
Both. That's what I meant when I said it to you, but you took it in a sweet direction, so I ran with it.
Come on, you were being sweet.
I was like, you need to be checked in immediately.
So what it was like, since we recorded last, the entire Ninja Turtles NECA musical mutagen tour stress happened. And Jake, you did mention, Ryan Dole and myself talked about it pretty extensively on our YouTube channel. But just to get your perspective, Jake, sitting there refreshing Target.com, I know you were stressed. I know it was a stressful time for all of us last week.
Yeah, I was stressed about it, and I was kind of annoyed about it because the drop was right when I had an appointment that I needed to be working on. So I couldn't spend too much time refreshing. I was like, okay, this will happen at 4:00. It will go up. I'll buy them, and then I'll get to work. And that didn't happen. And I sat there and I refreshed for a few minutes, and I was just like, I can't. It was already kind of late in the day, and I had a pretty big tattoo to do. So I didn't wait very long. Right. I waited a few minutes, and I said, I can't, whatever, I'll get them in the store. I'm like, I also like realized how much they were like you had to get the
accessory pack.
Get it online. You have to get the accessory pack. And I don't care about the accessory pack. And I'm like, I don't want to really spend this much money right now. I'm just like, I'll get them in. They'll be in Target. They'll be online. Like I'll get them later. I was just annoyed with the fact that it was like they're going up at 4 and then they didn't go up at 4.
Right.
So I just said fuck it, and I did my work, and then when I got done, I looked at my phone and saw that everybody was freaking out about it.
Dude, I wish we could calculate how much of our life we spend refreshing screens, honestly, because it's like it's a legitimate.
I mean, between Mondo and everything else,
right?
Well, listen. To update everybody, I got the turtles off Target.com. I think I didn't know anybody else who got them. I lucked out. There's been plenty of times I've missed out, so I got them this time. But they've been starting to hit Targets this week. People are starting to find them in stores. So I knew that. I know the release schedule at we have a lot of Targets around here. We're in Atlanta. There's like 10, 15 Targets. And today on my lunch break, I had this gut feeling. And I was like, I bet it's a Target I normally don't go to. But I was like, I have a feeling. I just have a feeling. I don't know what it was. It was toy intuition.
Premonition.
Whatever. I go to Target. I get there. I walk to the back where the next section is. Not only are they there, they are freshly being stocked by the NECA representative who is just trying to do her job. This poor lady, she was very nice, but like I'm patiently waiting. And right as I'm waiting, because I see they have 2 metalheads, they have 2 Casey Jones 2-packs. And I was like, I got to get these for Jake because I don't know if Jake's going to find them in Target because Jake, you only have 1 Target in your town. And if they only get 2 sets, it might be hard for you to get them. So I was like, I got to take care of Jake. He called in to check on me. I got to take care of him. Although
First of all, it's really sweet that you think of others when you're in that circumstance. It's very stressful.
It's very stressful. So I'm waiting. Another dude shows up and I'm like, fuck, this guy looks kind of cool. He's a collector. I could just tell he wasn't like there to buy headphones or whatever. You know, collectors. We know we can sniff out our own kind. And he looked at me and I looked at him and then he looked at Metalhead and he just right off the bat goes, hey, I'm getting that Metalhead. I was like, okay, yeah. I already have Metalhead.
Respect, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, are you a collector? He's like, yeah. Are you? I was like, yeah. We started making small talk. I want to give him a shout out. He told me his Instagram name. I already forgot it, but it was hilarious.
I remember it.
What is his Instagram?
Inhales Farts.
Yeah, Inhales Farts is his Instagram name.
Because I couldn't forget that.
And
he actually has like a decent toy Instagram. So
yeah,
good
it's
for
good.
him.
Give him a follow.
He gave us a good shout out.
So
I gave Craig a shout out.
So this is what happens. He gets the Metalhead, and I'm waiting for the lady. And then she goes, hey, if you need to get some of this stuff, go for it. And I was like, cool. So I grabbed 2 musical mutagen sets because I'm also picked up one for Jamil Payne, who is a group therapy person.
Happy birthday, Jamil.
It's his birthday, and he hooked me up last week by picking up a Casey Jones 2-pack. So I'm returning the favor to him. There's a lot of good synergy in Yes Have Some group therapy. Let me finish this goddamn story. What I'm saying is I get to the front, I pay, I'm about to walk out, and then I hear the dreaded, sir. So my guilt.
Oh, dude, I know that feeling.
I feel so guilty. I'm like, they caught me. They caught me buying toys. I don't know how they found me, but they found me. Run for it! What's his name? Inhales Farts?
Inhales Farts?
That's what I wanted to yell like Doc Brown. Run for it, Inhales Farts! They found us! Anyways. Nothing, not too big of a deal. She was like, you could still buy those, but I need to take a picture for NECA to prove that they're on the shelf. So I had to go all the way to the back of the store and re-put them on the shelf so she could take pictures. I helped her.
When you explained the story to me over the phone when you left Target, I thought that she was taking a picture of you as the purchaser, like holding them, posing.
No, she didn't care about.
And I was like, is Randy going to see that?
Were you nervous that when you had to put them back on the shelf for her to take a picture, even though you had already paid for them, that somebody would walk up at that time and try to buy them?
No, because I was literally they were in like a hand's distance. Like that wasn't going to happen.
Okay.
Like I watched her do, but one thing was funny. I put my bags down so she could put them back up. And then she was taking the picture. She was like, she had been really nice, but then she was like, hey, will you move your bags? I was like, oh, sorry. It was so crazy. So anyways, I got them, Jake, I got you the figures. You no longer have to lose sleep. But I did want to give another shout out to Inhaled Farts.
Yeah, it's inhaled.
Inhaled Farts.
Past tense. He's a habitual farter.
That's what he says on his bio.
Yeah.
He tagged us and he says, another score. ran into someone from at YHS podcast as well. And I was afraid he was going to take all of them because he had that toy collector look in his eye.
Y'all had a standoff.
So I jumped over a sweet old lady that was lying on the floor to grab mine. True story, actually. And you know what? That kind of is what happened. There was a lady on the floor stocking the shelves, and he grabbed Metalhead to make sure I couldn't get it. It was pretty amazing. So
I respect that.
that was my Target stress today. And then I called Jake to tell him that entire story. So this is the second time Jake and Abby have both heard it.
Yeah.
You framed it with, you were like, you will not believe what just happened to me.
You told me you started the story with, this is the craziest 25 minutes of my entire life. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's called clickbait. That's
you were totally hiding. There wasn't even a lead. There wasn't anything.
Nothing happened.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to think what would have made it even better. Like 4 other people showed up, and then what happened was Target management decided to make us all have a Ninja Turtles trivia contest to see who got them.
I thought you were going to say like a tournament, like a fighting tournament.
You versus inhaled farts?
Wait a minute, Jake, if you were in a Ninja Turtles fighting tournament, let's say you're not fighting, but you're picking somebody. Who from the Ninja Turtles universe are you picking to be your fighter in a real world battle?
Like out of the Turtles?
Just any Turtles characters.
I mean, I'm picking the Turtles.
Just all 4. Okay, cool.
I mean,
I thought you could only pick one fighter to represent you.
I think I'd pick
just one.
I'd pick.
Well, if I got to pick one, I'm picking Raphael.
Yeah,
Okay.
I figured you'd say Raphael. I'd say Casey Jones.
No, he's
Casey Jones is just a human. He's with a stick.
But I want to hang out with him from the movie.
I feel
But
like I
that's
would
not
pick.
the point.
All right, as a fighter, I'd
right,
pick Raphael
so
too, but that's the same as you, so
Abby
that's
loses.
boring.
Abby loses.
Do you want me just to agree with you? Because we always have the same opinion. Because I really do. I would choose Raphael because he's definitely the toughest and the best.
I like how nobody's picking either of the trained ninjutsu artists.
Splinter.
Hamato.
One's an old rat.
Yes.
And the other is a bad guy, and I don't know if I can trust him.
I was talking with who was I talking to? I don't know. I was in some Zoom thing. I don't know how much I can reveal. I was talking to some knowledgeable Ninja Turtles fans recently, and somebody brought up how hilarious it is at the end of Ninja Turtles when Casey Jones casually murders Shredder, or at least he thinks he does.
Right.
When Shredder goes,
He's like, oops.
oops.
I think that might be his actual line of dialogue.
That is what he says. He goes, oops, pulls the lever.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Like looks around like nobody's watching.
Yeah.
And like,
Whoopsie
but he noticed
daisies.
the human being is in here, right?
Oopsies.
Like, at least put him on trial. At least give him a fair shot. By the way, what would the trial of Shredder be? Sir, how do you, the state and city of New York is bringing up charges against Shredder for running what is clearly some sort of young male human trafficking warehouse.
And cult thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You need like a whole sting operation going on there.
I love the idea of like preying on like challenged youth in order to get them to steal VCRs for you. Like, it's just so insane.
I thought the VCRs were for them to keep them happy. I guess it's for everybody.
My favorite.
Is he reselling them on a secondary market?
They're on eBay.
That's what I was.
My favorite.
I was always confused about the Foot Clan because I couldn't ever really tell. It's like, on one hand, you're supposed to think they're all these like amazing trained ninjas.
Right.
But then you're like, but they're just random kids off the street that they're trying to teach how to be so are they just all really bad ninjas? It's hard to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially in the first, it doesn't look like there's a lot of training.
I think maybe it's different in the comics. Maybe in the comics and the cartoon, it's like they are a trained group of ninjas. But it's like
in the cartoon, the Foot Clan are like robots, basically.
Right. But like in the but it's like, but they know how to fight. They're
Right.
like, but then when you get to the movie, it's like they know how to fight sometimes, but
they
then
know how to
other times
skate.
they're just homeless kids.
Smoke
Exactly.
cigarettes.
It's like Danny, for instance. Like the kid. By the way, when I was a kid, I thought Danny was 35 years old. He's clearly 14, and it's like, yeah, he stole $20 out of April's purse, and he kind of gives his dad attitude. And they're like, maybe he could be a ninja. Maybe.
Anybody who wants to run away can be a ninja.
And then that takes me to my point. Of course I would join the Foot Clan. How amazing did that look?
Requirement.
That just snapped in my head when I said that. I was like,
Doesn't get along with your parents.
I guess I would be in the Foot Clan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So yeah, very excited to get those Ninja Turtles. Glad that that's my stress for this week. Now, they announced the Toka and Razar are going to be a stress-free purchase, and I'm really happy about that. NECA announced that it's going to be a pre-order on the site. Anybody who wants it can get it. Goes on sale this Friday. I personally think that this is a really great step in the right direction. I don't know. I don't want to be the kind of person who's like, everybody who has been complaining about NECA should really, like, Randy had an interview with Pixel Dan the other day, and the one thing Randy said is like, this is a proving ground. If we can prove that the market is there to sell a ton of these things, then we can do bigger items. Then we can do more dioramas and more vehicles. Like, so it's kind of like put your money where your mouth is. Like, I feel like anybody who's been on Twitter this week freaking out about NECA and saying that the toy industry is ruined, I challenge you. I say, oh, or is it that you just don't have $70 and you just want to complain? Like, let's see what happens this Friday. Jake, what'd you think about that news?
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm very glad because I don't want to sit around and press refresh. And they're, NECA's putting out a lot of turtle stuff, and a good bit of it I've been sort of passing on, and not because I don't like it. It's just there's too much of it. I've talked about this before. I got the big. I always can't remember what size are they. 16-inch turtles?
They're like 8. They're 1/4 scale. They're the big ones.
I got those, and I really love those. And at first, I was like, I'm content with just those guys, but I really want Toka and Razar, like like those in the coming out of their show, or the Mutagen Tor turtles, like those two things. I'm like, these I will get. I will pass on all of the like video game stuff and most of the animated stuff. I'm okay, not like driving myself crazy over going after, but the Toka and Razar, like like whenever the Super Shredder comes out, like that kind of stuff, I will buy that. And I am so happy that I'm not going to have to like be searching for it or scrambling for it or sitting, on my iPad at an exact time to try to get it. Like that's a step in the right direction, I think.
I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah. You're valuing your time. You don't want to spend it stressed out, refreshing. It makes sense.
Hey, by the way, one thing I forgot to mention last week, the animated 1/4 figures are amazing looking.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So I'm going to have to get those. Because I don't, Jake, you've got a bunch of the old jumbo turtles. Like I don't have any of those.
I got a couple of them. I've found, it's weird. I own like 3 of them, but the 3 that I own aren't from the same series. Like I have one from Ninja Turtles 3 and it's still in the packaging. And then I have one that is like the movie Turtles, which was when part 2 came out. And then I have one that is like from just the original, giant turtles. So it's like I have 3 of them, but they're not 3 in the same series.
Yeah, they're great. I can't wait. I didn't get the 1/4 turtles, the big ones, but obviously they look amazing. And all the stuff NECA's doing is really great. So I hope good luck to everybody who's out there looking for it. And
and our condolences to Randy, everyone at NECA who's had to deal with that headache. But it's like, you make great products, so I guess that's just one of the inevitable things.
Everybody's talking about this stuff like people are
like
dying.
It's so serious. I know.
I mean, it's a headache to Randy.
It's a headache to have to deal with like really nasty people.
Just think, if he would have made those Independence Day figures we asked him about, then they'd be available.
Dude,
because we'd be
Twister figures, everyone would have been happy.
Hey, I want to give a quick shout out. This was really cool. There is a podcast, a toy podcast out of Australia called Toy Power, and it was brought to my attention recently. One of their members of that, it's like a 4-person team podcast, and they talk about toys and action figures and all the stuff that we talk about, and they're based in Australia. And Ben is a recent member of Yes Have Some Group Therapy, and he reached out to us on Facebook. I guess he found Yes Have Some recently, and he reached out and said, hey, I gave you guys a shout out on our podcast, and we all went and listened to it, and it was really just a very nice and genuine, just nice that people from Australia were saying nice things about us.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that. I really appreciated it.
Yeah. I think Jake's response was, yeah, why can't people write that in our reviews?
Like an iTunes review.
iTunes.
God damn it.
Why do they all have to be joking? But no, yeah, it was a super honest, like, you could tell they listened, and it was super nice to listen to somebody's feedback. They seem like really nice guys, a really professional podcast, and they said that I like random crap, which makes me...
You do.
I do. Like, that is what I collect, which makes me happy and made me laugh. So,
Jake, did you listen to that?
I did, yeah. I thought it was really nice, and it was really sweet to hear that. And it was like, it also always kind of shocks me that people listen to the show. And I know that I've said this over and over. Anytime anybody says anything, it's still my natural reaction to be like, oh, I guess people listen to what we say. I guess
other than our close friends.
Yeah.
It just
People
doesn't
listen.
feel, it's just like when we're recording this, to me, it doesn't feel like
It's
we're
very
recording
natural.
something
Exactly.
to go out, and it just, it's nice. It's really nice to hear that people are listening and that people like it.
Yeah,
So.
it was good. So thank you so much for that. And I checked
Yeah,
out their
that was
show.
fun.
I listened. They did a whole episode a couple weeks ago talking about, I guess in the comics industry, there's this whole kerfuffle because DC is no longer being distributed by Diamond, which is the biggest distributor of comics, and it's putting a strain on the comic industry and the availability of comics. And it was a very good discussion, very interesting. So thank you so much to those guys. And yes, there's nothing funnier than like when we're at a toy show or a convention where somebody recognizes us. It has happened before, and they come up to Jake or
And he
Abby.
gets defensive.
Jake's like,
Why are they talking
I'm like,
about
who the
you.
fuck is this? Who the
Who are
fuck
you?
is it? Are you making fun of me? What is happening?
Who told you to...
That's where my mind goes. I'm like,
put
who
you
the
up to
fuck-
this?
Are they fucking with us?
Oh yeah, it's like if you want, that's a recipe to see like social anxiety coming over Abby, defensiveness coming over Jake, and me, I'm the exact opposite. I'm like, fine, I'll sign your stuff, but please move along.
No, Craig will talk to you for an hour.
I
He will
will.
talk to you till you're till you're trying to get out of the conversation
Yes,
with him.
that's how
And Jake and I have already left to get something to eat.
that's happened so many times where I'm like, you're gonna regret talking to me, buddy.
Craig doesn't know when to stop. Like, he doesn't know when the natural social. Look at you, enjoy it. You like getting to know people.
I'm surprised our podcast episodes aren't 5 hours, because even at the end of a podcast, I'm like, should we keep going? Should we keep going? Come on. There's got to be something more to talk about. Yes. So thank you to those guys. Check out their podcast, Toy Power. Very, very cool stuff. Well, cool. I don't have any other housekeeping stuff. Abby,
Yeah.
how's your potluck?
Potluck is going so well. We've totally discussed all my opening warm-up questions, and I'm really excited to do this potluck.
Hey, we're almost a half hour into this thing, and we haven't even plugged anything.
No,
This
I
is
was
just-
I was going to give a very
Craig's
natural...
already looking at Craig's art. That's how well this
He's
Wing It
like,
episode is going. That
"Shut
Craig's
up,
like,
dude."
all right, half an hour. That means, a
It's-
couple more minutes. We can end this thing.
so good that I'm checking the time
Oh my God.
constantly. I was going to give a natural organic shout out to group therapy. We have 802 members. I just looked, and that's awesome. I didn't know that we had crossed over 800.
We
So
did.
congratulations to us. And if you're not a member, then please join. Just log into Facebook and search for Yes Have Some Podcast Group Therapy. You'll find our closed group. Ask to join. Either myself, Craig, or Jake will accept you quickly, and then you'll be part of our really awesome, tight-knit group of cool people that don't post memes. And that's about it.
I don't know if we
So
talked.
natural.
That was so natural.
Thank you.
That don't post memes.
I know. As soon as I did those.
Hey, listen. This
Hand me my check.
this thing keeps happening in group therapy, and I know it's driving Ryan crazy. People are kind of testing the meme limits, and I think I talked about this before, but they're
Meme limits. That's so funny.
they're doing this thing. And I see it like 3 times a week where someone goes, "I know we're not supposed to post memes, but," and then it's just a meme. They're like, "This is gold."
It's just a meme,
It's
yeah.
just a meme.
And then Ryan will like react and be like, "It's fucking coming down. I don't care."
We need to add like a level of punishment for posting them.
Do you know this has happened to me and Jake like 6 times where somebody will have a meme removed, and then
Can
they
we meme shame people?
and then they reach out to us, and they're
No, they'll ask. Yeah, I've been
Oh.
asked for like what they did wrong or whatever, and I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking. I'm like, I didn't take it down.
we don't care. We just wanted to give Ryan some work. We're trying to get him an American citizenship.
Oh my god.
He applies for dual citizenship so he can come to America.
Yeah.
What is your American job? Meme.
Meme moderator.
Meme police.
All right, cool. So,
Meme bounty, right?
Yes,
what they're called.
yes.
That's good.
He's like Boba Fett, but he hunts down memes.
We should get him to come do that professionally.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So Abby had posed a couple questions to us, and they were actually pretty interesting. And since there is listen, by the way, there is movie news happening, but I don't know how long we can break down the fact that Tenet has changed its release date 45 times.
Will you please tell what the thing that you keep saying about Tenet and how it's going to show up?
Yeah, it's going to be like that fucking U2 album. It's just going to end up on our phones, even if we don't ask for it one day, where no one's going to know how to get it off their phone.
Tenet is tentatively delayed.
It's going to be showing inside of your head in 2026.
Tentatively, Christopher Nolan has entered the consciousness of American souls. Hey, listen, Abby
It's
had
a tentative tent pole.
Tentative.
Tentacle.
Tenet is tentative.
I like that. It kind of sounds like I'm taking a hearing test.
I'm just having fun.
It's like one of those
I love
things
hearing
that
tests.
it's like in drama when you have to do like a voice exercise
Yeah.
to get your Tenet. The Tenet is tentative.
Christopher Nolan's pea coat. I don't know.
What?
He just always wears like a
Hot
long.
tamales. Okay, I'm sure I didn't take it.
Christopher Nolan is the only director that looks even more pretentious than Paul Feig when directing.
Right.
Because Paul Feig wears like a 3-piece suit. It's got to be hot, but like Christopher Nolan, like I don't know. It's like a whole thing. I don't get it. There's scarves. I don't know. I don't get it. I'm more a shorts and t-shirt kind of guys. Abby, I
Yeah.
want to talk about these side dishes. Tell me what this is about. I'm just gonna go through your list now.
Okay. What about the side? I was talking about what we're bringing to the table, and I was going to talk about the movies that I've watched recently over quarantine. And,
I thought you were actually asking what our favorite side dishes were.
Well, let's do that. You want to do the warm up?
I don't know. Like I just reading your list.
Cool. All right, I thought you were gonna do it. I'm excited now. All right, guys. Here's the first question. What's your favorite go-to side dish?
Just in general?
Yeah.
All right, Jake, you start.
I don't know. Macaroni and cheese.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good one.
That's a really good
All
one.
right, good. This is great.
I said pasta salad.
Ew.
I love pasta salad.
That's for like other people.
Oh, that's for me.
Mac and cheese is the only answer.
Okay, what's your favorite side dish, Craig?
Bread.
That's my
That's
That's
like
my.
an app. Oh, you guys. All right. Here's the next question. Have you ever been to a potluck?
Yes.
Like a vegan potluck?
I've literally never been to a potluck.
I was wondering because I've been to church potlucks before, and then I've been to a vegan potluck before.
I don't know what it is
I'm
about the word.
regretting doing
Yeah,
this.
great segment.
Let's move on to the movie section.
Yeah, I was literally just it was just a warm up thing, but
we actually
don't have
warmed
to
up talking
do
about
it.
the content we normally would talk about.
we did normal content.
Okay. So
well,
wait, let me just ask this: is the side dish conversation over?
yeah, it's
Okay,
over.
it's
Thank
done.
God.
Thank God.
Well, I was talking about and thinking about reflecting over quarantine movies and the movies that I've watched for the first time over quarantine. I made a post last night in group therapy to ask and poll people what movie we should watch that night. And the first place winner was Slither. And I think I'm going to actually go through and watch, you and I, Craig, are going to watch the other 4 that I put out, which are Parasite and The Lighthouse and Ex Machina and Lady Bird, because I've never seen those.
Okay.
And I feel like it's kind of the end of quarantine for me here. I'm going back to work like at the end of this week. So there's this kind of, I'm reflecting on the last couple of weeks and the last couple of months. And I've watched a lot of movies for the first time, a lot of good movies. And I wrote them all out on a list and I felt like ranking them. So
Now you didn't rank all the new like you didn't put Palm Springs on here.
fuck, I forgot that.
But that kind of doesn't count because it's just a new movie. So I won't even worry about that. But I know we all watched it.
That's my number 1 favorite new movie. This is my ranking of movies that I've seen for the first time.
Okay. You have to go in reverse order though.
Okay. And I did this by looking at my Instagram stories and like I looked through like because I like to take the first like the image like do a boomerang.
Here's the
of,
thing.
Like,
this is going to
the
get
movie
us. This is
opening
going to get
title
us where we
credits.
need to be. Don't do the whole for each movie. Let's do a little bit of let's talk about Jake can give his opinion on the movie and I can talk about like what I thought.
Yeah.
That way we're not just reading a list and at the end we're back to side dishes.
Thank you. for moderating.
Okay, keep going.
Cool. This is actually the first movie that I watched at the beginning of quarantine, and it's at the bottom of my list. Number 10 is Knives Out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Knives Out. I like a good murder mystery. It was different than I was expecting. By the way, we're about to spoil a bunch of movies, so if you haven't seen them, I don't know what to tell you. Jake, did you see Knives Out in theaters?
I saw it in theaters, yeah, and I liked it fine, but I think I had some like pent up issues.
Aggression towards Ryan Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah, with Ryan Johnson.
Me too.
Yeah, I honestly think it messed with my viewing experience because I'm just so annoyed by him.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. Obviously, I think The Last Jedi and Star Wars in general just kind of a weird couple of years. Abby, what was your opinion of Knives Out?
I mean, it's not a movie that I've thought of since watching it.
Since making your list?
Yeah, since it was on my list to watch, and it was a similar reason to you, Jake. I had a bad taste in my mouth from Last Jedi, and yeah, it just affected my viewing experience, and it was just not my favorite of movies that I have taken in over the last 5 months.
Did you know Daniel Craig's character from that movie is getting like his own spin-off series? They're like making a whole series about it.
Like detective stuff and figure like that's
You just don't care about detectives.
yeah, it's just not really my thing.
All right.
Never really liked Sherlock Holmes or any of that shit. All right, number 9 is part of the I've been watching the X-Men movies over the last couple of weeks, and I put X-Men 3: The Last Stand at number 9 because it's just it's not as good as the other X-Men movies I watched, and but it was kind of somewhat enjoyable to kind of laugh at a little bit.
Juggernaut, bitch.
Yeah.
Is that in that?
Yes.
Yeah.
It had some cringy moments for sure. So I don't know how you feel about that movie, Jake. I'm assuming I don't know. Why don't you tell me?
It's maybe probably bottom. How many X-Men movies are there at this point? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8 or 9, and I'd probably put it in the bottom 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty awful. It's got Beast. The Beast in X3 is better than the Beast in the younger
I agree
films.
Yeah. Because he's like
but-
less cat-like or whatever.
Well, I mean, he's like Beast is in the cartoon and the earlier comics. So
speaking of which, I kind of want to watch.
I like Kelsey Grammer as Beast a lot, but besides that, the movie's pretty awful.
Yeah.
Hey, do they ever? So, what? Professor X dies in that movie, but do they ever explain?
No, they don't. He just comes back.
He just comes
Yeah.
back. I was wondering.
He's just back. He's just so like. There's an end credit scene where they imply that he's put his conscience into another body.
Okay.
Oh.
And they mention it once in the middle of the movie, and then after the credits, he talks to Myra. She's in the hospital, and she's like, Charles, and that's it. And it's like he's put his, and that was what they were going to do. But then they didn't make any more of those movies, and then they started with First Class. And then Days of Future Past was the next movie with Patrick Stewart in it, and he's just back.
All right, there you go. And his wheelchair floats. All right,
and nobody cares. Like at that point, it's like nobody cares.
Right.
X-Men 3 sucks so bad. Who cares?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Like it's just cool to see. Like obviously, like I can't really remember a time where he wasn't Professor X. Like I even feel like in 1994, if someone was like, if they made an X-Men movie, Patrick Stewart's going to play Professor X. Like everyone's like, yeah, of course. Like
Yeah, I already did.
Back when they did, back when Wizard magazine was a thing, each issue would have, it would have like if they made a movie, and they they would do like fan casts, and there was an X-Men issue, and Patrick Stewart was, that was the one they got right.
I love it.
That's
all right.
cool. This is very, very cool.
By the way, I don't like that movie. Just want to. I fell asleep when I saw that movie in theaters.
Yeah.
And I liked the first two. So, all right.
It's pretty weak. After that, at number 8, I have another X-Men movie, X2, which I liked it. Not as much as X-Men, which I actually have at number 7. So we can kind of talk about those in tandem. But
okay.
The X-Men, the original movie, and X-Men 2, it's like having Patrick Stewart in it. There's enough like motivation right there. It kind of makes it really quality to watch.
And Ian McKellen's great.
Yeah, Ian McKellen too.
It's weird. Your perspective's so interesting because like Jake, for us, when we first saw those movies, like they were groundbreaking. Like, we had never seen superhero movies like that before. So now that it's 2020 and you've just lived through 12 years of the MCU, maybe it dampens like the impact, but I still really like the first two X-Men movies.
Yeah.
They both have good and bad. Like, there's some things they get really, really right, but then there's some stuff that's just like far out of left field and is like confusing why they did it. And I think X2 is probably the best of the three of those originals. But it's still like, I don't know. It's still like, I don't care for all the Stryker stuff, and I still don't think it's great.
That's kind of a weak villain, in my opinion, for like the main villain of the movie. I don't know. Maybe X-Men fans will disagree with me and be like, you asshole. But Jake, tangent, who's your favorite X-Men character?
Man, it's weird. Like when before the movies existed, it was always like Wolverine, because he's just like, you know, he's the like main crazy scary dude, but he's kind of, you know, they toned him down a little bit for the movies. And as far as the movies go, I'd probably say Professor Xavier. I always liked in the cartoons, I always liked Beast and Nightcrawler, and I think Rogue is a really Rogue is a great character in the comics and in the cartoon, and her character in the movies it's 100% in the opposite direction of what she is like, and that's one of the things I hope if they when they bring the MCU mutants in is maybe we get like a traditional Rogue. But I've always liked the X-Men that are like creatures, you know what I mean? Like Beast and Nightcrawler and Wolverine, they're basically all like werewolves, kind of, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Like they're all these weird like those have always been my favorite.
Dude, I remember like even when I saw the first X-Men, like what's that actor who plays Cyclops? James Marsden, is that his name?
Yeah.
I just remember being like, dude, he sucks.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like a big.
I would say he's the weakest link.
Like I'm
Cyclops is always. I've always been annoyed with Cyclops.
He's like Leonardo.
He's written to be that way.
Yeah. Just
like
kind of the
straight lace.
Dude, I like how Wolverine's always macking on Jean Grey.
I love that. I was gonna say, for me, my two favorite characters from the movies thus far would be Mystique and Jean Grey. And I know that you talk shit about Jean Grey for being stiff or whatever, but I get weird like Beverly Crusher vibes.
She's tall.
I like that.
Stresses me out. She's very tall.
I like her.
Okay.
I don't even mind the acting. So yeah, but Mystique for obvious reasons. I like Jennifer Lawrence's portrayal a lot more. I think she puts a lot more life and energy into it. But that's a cool character to be able to like transform and kind of be going back and forth from like one side to the other. Like she's cool. She's kind of like a mercenary, kind of doing her own fucking thing.
You know what's funny when I think about those movies too is like, you know, I'm not a huge comics fan. I'm definitely not a big X-Men fan, but like the whole, you know, Jean Grey dying and then like, what is it? The Phoenix Rising, that whole plot line, Jake.
Yeah.
It's just not executed very well in the movies. Like that's a major plot line.
When she becomes the water.
It's not executed in the movies at all. Yeah. It's, you know, the whole Phoenix saga is literally that. It's like a saga. It lasted a long time, and it happened like while they're, you know, in the movie, she just like all of a sudden has this power, you know, like I can't remember, like she just does something big and all of a sudden is like the Phoenix and
she got a new wig and that's how you know.
You know, that happens in space in the comics, and there's just like there's like an alien race that's like following the Phoenix, and it's a whole thing. It's like a very, very big, long drawn out. That's something like a Phoenix saga. If they wanted to do that, that's something you have to do in the span. Like that's almost like a Thanos level.
Yeah.
You build that up. You can't just do that in a movie.
Build that shit. I'm curious to know what you like about Rogue more in the comic book versus the movie version.
Rogue in the comics is, first of all, she's not just like some little whiny kid who doesn't want to be a mutant and doesn't do anything. Yeah. I think we've talked about it before. Rogue starts off as a villain in the X-Men universe, and she's like a thief, and she goes around and she steals powers, and she's a bad guy. She's on Magneto's side for a while.
I like that.
She gets into a pretty heavy fight with Captain Marvel.
Oh.
And Rogue's powers is that if she touches you, she'll steal your powers, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So in the comics, she holds on to Captain Marvel too long, and she holds on to Captain Marvel so long that she permanently takes all of her powers, puts her in a coma,
Whoa.
like she's out. And she then, has all of Captain Marvel's powers, and she can fly, and she's literally Captain Marvel plus her mutant powers. And because she steals so much from Captain Marvel, she also gains like the good part of Carol.
Okay.
She becomes a good guy, and she joins the X-Men, and
What happens
she's like
to Carol,
she's like a badass.
Do I have to read this?
What?
I said, what happens to Carol Danvers? Like,
she lives her life in a coma.
okay. That sucks.
I think there's probably, I'm not like super versed on all the Captain Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
And there's probably a point where she comes out of it or she gets powers back. It probably depends on what universe you're reading and all that. But she gets put permanently in a coma from this.
Did you guys hear about Brie Larson?
Yeah, we did. Good for her.
Inside joke.
Oh.
That's
for 4 people.
That's for 4 people, and you know who you are. All right, cool. Good discussion. What's next?
Oh, let me look at my list, actually.
Cool.
I kept this on my phone instead of my notebook today. All right, so I've already got, we're down to number 6, and number 6 is still an X-Men movie, so Days of Future Past.
Oh, cool.
That's the best one that I've seen so far. I'd say that's the highest quality. Yeah, it just has much cooler visuals, better acting.
I mean, you could tell, like, Bryan Singer directed that movie as well, and we won't go into the Bryan Singer saga. We don't have to do any of that. But you could tell a 2014 movie versus like a 2001 movie. It's like just
you can tell a movie after Game of Thrones is popular, kind of.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. There's new influences that make things seem more modern and fresh, and I think that one kind of you got a little taste of it.
Besides Logan, I think that's Hugh Jackman's best portrayal of Wolverine in that movie, and like the time travel. The time travel element's really cool. And I know, Jake, we've talked about that movie a good amount.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a whole, like just like everything you just said, it is the best of those. It's probably the best X-Men movie.
Yeah.
It probably is, and it still isn't completely accurate, but it's got a lot of great stuff in it.
I like Ian McKellen's High and Tight.
Yeah.
He's just cool, man.
Yeah. It's
what a
cool
dude, I've said this a lot. Like, if you go back, if you think about early comic book movies and how bad a lot of them are, the fact that we got Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen as Magneto and Professor X, like
those are like gemstones, like right there. It makes everything worth it. I think those movies do have some like crap and shit caked around them, but like that's their acting and seeing them on screen together is worth it.
Right. Cool. Yeah, we don't have to spend a lot.
Cool. Yeah, moving on.
We should maybe at some point do more of a thorough like retrospective.
Yeah, like maybe when I watch the rest of them.
Yes, exactly.
That would make sense. All right, number 5. This I watched also at the beginning of quarantine. Is Demolition Man.
Cool.
Which, I couldn't believe I hadn't seen that movie. And Sandra Bullock and Sylvester Stallone. You got a lot of swearing, and I love their vision of the future. It was definitely
all restaurants are Taco Bell.
Yeah, it's a great movie. We don't have to talk forever about it, but I assume Jake, you're probably a fan.
I've only seen it once, and it was maybe within the last year.
Okay, so it was like a new thing for you too.
And yeah, I liked it. Yeah. I thought it was very fun.
Yeah, it's good. Like it's actually not great, but it's great. I think it's better than like Judge Dredd, but it kind of. It's early Sandra Bullock. You could tell the time frame because they were like, guys, we need comedic relief. How about Rob Schneider?
Oh.
Like, they put him in there.
Who's also in Judge Dredd.
How funny is that? He's just sitting around. He's like, what was his old thing on SNL? He's like, Judge Dreadorama, the Dread Man.
Dreaderino.
It's so stupid. Yeah, Demolition Man's cool. Loved that movie as a kid. I thought Wesley Snipes was awesome as Simon. Mm-hmm. And the entire plot line is ridiculous. And we might have talked about this when you watched Demolition Man, but I'll talk about it again. There's this really funny line at the end where Wesley Snipes is trying to thaw all the bad guys that have ever been frozen to kind of build, to build an army. And he's like, "Give me Jeffrey Dahmer. I love that guy." I'm like, hold on. You're telling me that in a futuristic, like, urban warfare that Jeffrey Dahmer would be any kind of help at all? Like, he was a weak weirdo.
That's not the player that you choose.
Yeah. Okay. But I'm just like,
Unless
I'm just saying. By the way, Jeffrey Dahmer killed like 40 people and he ate them.
Yeah, but it was over slow, like long periods of time.
And I just went, he was a weak weirdo. That's my review. Oh, God damn it.
You're getting a ticket.
What a weak weirdo. Oh, cool. Yeah, anybody could put formaldehyde on a cloth and attack somebody in a back alley, but it's not going to help you when you got a bazooka in your face. Am I right? All right, what's next?
I also want to say I want all of Sandra Bullock's like 90s collectible stuff from that movie because it's fun.
What's the whole thing? Like, Sylvester Stallone wants to have like real sex, and she wants to have like
I forgot about
digital sex.
Yeah, she uses like a head thing.
It's like
a
Coneheads.
headband. Yeah, it is like Coneheads actually. All right, so after Demolition
My
Man,
microphone just fell.
you're good. Hey, that's like weird
lucky.
role reversal. All right, number 4.
What did you do to your cone?
Number 4, I have Masters of the Universe. Obviously, Craig, you've been collecting and getting into Masters of the Universe.
Sure
we
have.
watched a lot of the cartoon, and then we watched the live action movie. And watching the live action movie made me want to read about the like behind the scenes production story of that movie because it was like insane. Everything was like falling apart, and the budget was being cut, and like the lights were out on a lot of the shots, and like for the final act. But like the big battle between Skeletor and He-Man was like supposed to be a lot different than it ended up being. And Courtney Cox is in it, and Gwildor is like a very fun character that kind of reminds me of the Leprechaun, and it's kind of gross and like meanders, but it's fun, and I had a really fun time watching it, and I think it's high up there for me.
It's awful.
It's like terrible. It's very bad
damn
movie.
it. It's fucking awful. But I liked it. All right, what's next?
Number 3, Lost Boys.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I couldn't believe I'd never seen that one. My brother loves that movie, and I've heard a lot of good things about it. The soundtrack is awesome. I ordered a CD actually with a soundtrack during one of our eBay hangs recently to celebrate that movie. And yeah, it's vampires, and it's Craig's like girl crush, and
Who's my girl crush?
what's her name from Twister?
The girl from Twister.
Oh, what's her name?
Gerg.
Yeah, whatever her name is. I can't think of her name. She's great. Jamie Gertz. She's great.
Yeah,
she really is great.
yeah.
It's Melissa.
Melissa.
It's Dr. Melissa Reeves. It's fucking Dr. Melissa.
I thought there was a Melinda in there.
Oh my God, that's the best moment we've ever had. I'm so glad we did that. Okay.
Wait, hold on.
You want to keep talking?
I want to ask Jake what he thinks about vampires.
Yeah, let's ask him.
I mean, I think Lost Boys is probably one of the top 3 best vampire movies ever made.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
It's great. Yeah.
It's surprisingly like violent and cool.
It's just very good. Yeah. It's very well made. It's got some really cool, fun stuff in it.
By the way, Alex Winter is really cool looking in that movie, but I don't think he has one line. But he's always cool looking.
He dies pretty quickly. I think he's like one of the first. Isn't he the one they stake?
I think so.
Yeah.
The kids just literally climb up to him and just stake him in the.
Yeah.
I think first one to die.
The opening of that movie's really awesome too. Like the shots of like the shore and stuff during like the lighting's like perfect, and you see like, the roller coaster. Oh my God, it's fucking beautiful. Yeah.
It's really cool.
I really liked it.
Speaking of vampires, we were at the grocery store, and guys, it's 2020. There's like a Time Life special edition magazine. It was Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson on the cover, and it said,
"Yeah, because Time Life also is like, what do we write about?"
Literally, John Bonet.
I was like, oh, cool. Look, everything from Twilight finally revealed. I'm like, talk about not timely at all.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Corey Feldman. And
that movie's that's a great cast.
Great cast. I was looking for, they're the Frog Brothers and Justin West and his brother.
Oh yeah. Frog Brothers podcast.
They have a podcast, so
that's
it's
cool.
another. I didn't. This is how dumb I was. I didn't put 2 and 2 together. I kind of made up a thing in my head. I was
Justin West's last name was Frog.
I just thought, I was like, oh, I bet growing up they were like the Frog Brothers. They're always catching frogs and stuff, or like
Justin West. Really, it's a podcast about frogs,
or like
skipping stones and catching
like
frogs.
Toad, the little Toad kid from Little Rascals, or something. Who's like,
okay,
I don't know. Anyways, what I'm saying is check out that podcast as well.
Cool,
because those guys are big supporters and are good friends
for sure. Yep, good guys.
Totally. And they are big fans of frogs. All right, so number 2, Number 2 and number 1, I had trouble going back and forth because my number 2 movie I only saw for the first time last night. And if you were listening to this episode, you will know because I already said the winner of my poll last night was Slither, which I watched for the very first time last night.
We've talked about your number 1 a lot, so go ahead and reveal your number 1 so we can get that, and then I want to
get it
talk
out of the way.
about,
Yeah, number 1, it's Willow. I'm Willow. I watched it like twice in the first 24 hours within the first time I saw it. Like it was just, it's very special. I've got like a major crush on Val Kilmer already, and I've talked about why I love that movie. It's got Warwick Davis, and yes, it's just all sorts of good feelings. I'm very surprised I never saw it before. So that's my number 1. I've already collected
it's
everything
like if
available.
Hal Clay was a movie.
Yeah.
It would just be Willow.
And the fact that Hal Clay has that Kale costume, General Kale's awesome.
Cool.
So yeah, Willow, we don't have to discuss, but yeah, Slither, I would like to say just first of all, thank you group therapy members for voting for that. I'm really glad that you did. I don't know how happy Craig is that we watched it last night. There were like a few moments where he might have left the room, but I personally loved it. And I woke up this morning thinking about it and have thought about it several times today. And I've in like just a big James Gunn mood. I obviously loved Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and Volume 2, but when Volume 1 first came out, I was like, oh, I gotta watch Slither. So it's only taken me like 6 years to do this. But well, for one thing, can I just say that movie is gross as absolute fuck. Like it's gross. But I realized I don't mind gross. I can actually watch like gross pus shit, like nasty shit on screen, as long as it's positive and fun. And as long as there's like jokes and it's like in a fun environment.
Sense, yeah. It is super gross, but it's also very, very funny.
Exactly, dude.
I 100%, I know this is a hot take, but Slither is James Gunn's best movie.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now I'm regretting not putting it at number 1. It's so good and so
I don't
well
think
made.
the listeners are worried about your list right now.
Yeah, I don't think any. Or what about my side? You guys want to talk about side dishes? Macaroni. I really liked Slither. It was fun. Elizabeth Banks is like just
I always forget how much I like Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah.
She really is good. And Michael Rooker's just awesome. But I will say this. I got very nauseous multiple times. That movie is disgusting. When they walk into that barn and the girl's just completely like...
Okay, yeah, the possums.
I don't even know how to... She's bloated.
She's like a little bloated.
I was like, fuck, I can't look. Like, I was so upset.
Craig was looking at his phone. I kept turning around and checking on you.
I don't mind gore, and I don't mind like psychological thrillers or like scary stuff. Like, but when it gets to this level of like like you could tell they went over the top. Like, what is some of the grossest stuff we could do? Like, I don't know, Jake, you're more of a horror fanatic.
Dude, anything getting in your mouth is bad.
It's gross, but I've seen much grosser movies. It's gross, but it's all, there are a couple other movies that this movie draws specifically from. There's a movie called Night of the Creeps. There's an old movie called Shivers that has like scenes basically lifted out of it and paid homage to in this movie with the little worms, trying to get into, the bathtub worm scene. That's in that is. There's a movie called Shivers that I watched recently, and it's like that is in the. I'm like, oh, that's where Slither got that from,
right?
Yeah, it's gross, man. But like, if you watch horror movies, if horror movies is your thing, you tend to find some really gross movies out there. I think it's definitely gross for like a mainstream movie. Like that was in theaters. I went and saw that at the theater. It's like there's actors in that you recognize and know from other movies, and it is a little out of the box to be like. Just being like, yeah, we're going to go see this movie called Slither and see like, oh, okay, that's not like a straight to Shudder movie, where it's like,
yeah,
okay to just be disgusting.
Yeah.
It's like,
right.
There was money. Pam from The Office is in this movie.
Right.
And it's like,
yeah, cast is awesome.
what kind of a thing wants you to eat it?
And Michael Rooker just going meat. It's really funny to me.
Michael Rooker's great in this movie.
Yeah. Jake, Nathan Fillion's in this movie, and he's great. And you kind of brought up we'll kind of wrap it up on this topic. Abby, great list, great movies, by the way.
I'm glad I brought a side dish.
I really like Nathan Fillion, and like Jake brought up this topic to us last night, or it was in a text. At some point you mentioned this, that you thought that, well, I'll let you take your hot take because it was really good, but it was that notion that like kind of outside of like nerd culture, like Firefly, that like if you, or people who go to Dragon Con, like
a lot of people don't know who Nathan
a lot of people
Fillion
don't know who
is.
he is. Yeah.
He's not a national heartthrob.
He's a very obscure. Yeah, he was in Firefly, which, you know, was like a very short-lived series. And he was in that show Castle, but that also was pretty short-lived. And I'm not sure how well that did. He's been in a couple movies, but they're always kind of like, you know, smaller roles. But I think he's very, very funny. My hot take was basically that he should have been Peter Quill. I think he's that same kind of like cocky jerk, but also really funny and charming that Chris Pratt is. And I believe that probably the MCU was like, you know, they want big names for those movies. And I'm not saying that Chris Pratt was a bad choice or anything like that, but I think if James Gunn had his way, he probably would have put Nathan Fillion in that role, because he does use Nathan Fillion a lot, and he has like he has a few cameos in you know, the Guardians movie. He's like a voice in one of them, and I think it would have been really great for him and his career. And there's always been like rumors of him joining the MCU, or even like, you know, Ryan and John always talk about how he should have been Hal Jordan in the DC universe, and that would work as well too. But it's like, I watch Slither, and you know, or Dr. Horrible, or anything with Nathan Fillion, and I'm like, that's literally Star-Lord. Like he would be great.
He's great. And
I really liked him in Slither enough to, when I read your comment last night, and I was like 100% like that. I would love him as Star-Lord if I hadn't seen Chris Pratt. And I've kind of cooled off on Pratt. Yeah. It's hard to go back after Pratt. Once you go Pratt, you don't go back. Okay.
Maybe Nathan Fillion would have been better in Jurassic World, because I think Chris Pratt is pretty damn good as Star-Lord, but
not good in
I don't
Jurassic
love him
World.
in the Jurassic World movie.
That's interesting, and I can agree with that.
But you know, it's
we should get a petition to
here. The bottom line is, start giving Nathan Fillion the Chris Pratt roles and stop giving Chris Pratt so much work, because he doesn't. That's what I'm saying.
We'll put it in a petition, Jake, and we're going to replace
Change.org.
Change.org. Change Chris Pratt with Nathan Fillion.
I love it. That was great. Yeah, I agree. And it kind of make, you know, I've never watched all of Firefly. I've seen it sporadically, but maybe I need to go back and do a rewatch, because that's a cool show.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. I tried. I don't think I finished it. I started it way long time ago.
We're the worst nerds.
It's bad. I know.
This is, Abby, you host a nerd podcast. You're like, I saw Lost Boys for the first time yesterday, and I've never seen Firefly. You're going to get your Dragon Con credentials
I know Firefly.
I know
And I know about the hat and the umbrella.
Dude.
Just from Dragon Con costumes. I don't even know.
I remember like my first time at Dragon Con, I was like, what's this hat?
What is this hat everyone's
There must be a Dragon Con thing. Everyone's got this hat on. Well, cool. Good stuff.
You asked the people that work at the Hilton where you can get one of those hats.
Hi, I misplaced my room key, and also, do you have a hat? One of those fun hats?
Red and orange hat.
I believe it's not from a TV show or anything. It's just kind of like a Dragon Con thing. Anyways, hey, you know what? I'm gonna miss Dragon Con this year, but it'll be even better next year.
Yeah,
because I will have seen all of Firefly.
Exactly. And we'll have so much time to play in costuming.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, cool. So thank you everybody for joining us this week. This was fun. I think we did it. I think we
did it.
We winged it.
We winged it.
Fun.
It was fun.
On broken wings.
Yeah.
It's a song.
Abby, what's your movie choice for tonight?
Let me look at my list. I think number 2 was Ex Machina that came in.
Yeah. I'm going to pick the movie, and tonight it's Richie Rich. All right. Well, listen, everybody. Good luck with your toy hunting. Hope that you can get a Toka and Razar this Friday from NECA.com. Do not forget to tune into all of our extracurricular activities that we're doing on Patreon and YouTube and all the places you can find us. You know where to find us, especially on Instagram. We're over 8,000 followers. We're finally going to be creeping up on 10,000, which was our I think one day we sat down and said, let's have a social media goal. First goal, 10,000 followers on Instagram. And 5 years later, we're getting close. So
Doing pretty good.
We're doing pretty good. Jake, did you have anything else tonight, ma'am?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and start refreshing for Toka and Razar because they're probably not going to be up at the time, and they say they are.
Yeah. That's fine. Okay, keep refreshing.
Always refreshing.
Always refreshing.
I'm probably going to do that thing that we always do when we see the toys we want. We're just like, oh, I'll get it next time. And I'll probably wait until next Friday to order them.
Right. Mm-hmm. Oh, we still haven't talked. We'll push it to another episode, but we still haven't talked about this damn Sentinel yet. I don't know who's getting it. I don't know who wants it. I'm excited that it's happening, but I'm not getting it.
Oh yeah, I
forgot.
Yeah. Lots
going on. Lots of toys to buy. And Bill and Ted, when Bill and Ted comes out, whether we see it in theaters or at home, we will have a full... That's going to be a cathartic episode because we did a really good breakdown of the first 2 Bill and Ted movies a couple years back. And it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think that could be a wild episode. I'm just predicting.
Wild Stallions.
It could be Wild Stallions. And I did want to make one last announcement. It is official. Our Child's Play episode that we did like 3 years ago, we broke down the entire Child's Play franchise, is still our most downloaded episode of all time by miles.
That's insane.
In spite of everything, everything else we talk about, way to go, Child's Play.
Yeah. So people like it. People like it.
That's fine. Well, there's more Child's Play coming.
There is.
Yeah.
There is. We're the #1 Child's Play podcast. For Abigail Gardner and Jacob Walsh, my name is Craig Goldberg. Thank you so much for joining us this week on Yes Have Some. We will see you next time.
Don't fuck with the Chuck.
Goodbye.